Welcome to my version of First Things First. Nick writes, Tears headed into week nothing because it's obviously the off season. Alright. So he did before just the teams going into, the way too early tiers or what, however it was framed. And, as I always do it my own different way, my own spin, although it's obviously hard to do it because I always go based off of what we just saw. I'm going to do the same way that I did it with the quarterback mountain, where it's really like teams that I think have the potential to be the most interesting slash exciting slash who I'm anticipating. Like it's a weird mix. There's other teams that I think could be absolutely great and could literally be a top team in the NFL, right? The number one seed. But maybe they're lower because I'm looking at it kind of from like a strictly entertainment value. Again, we're kind of playing fast and loose with this. This is really more of just a jumping off point for a conversation about these teams. That's really what it is. Like it was for the quarterback mountain as well. Because like I said in the quarterback mountain, man, we're gonna have so many quarterback rankings. Who's first, second, third. Whatever. And it's just like we got months to deal with that. And same thing with the tiers and the rankings. We don't know free agency, we don't know the draft and whatnot. So we can have stronger expectations and stronger predictions. This is just like as of right now, it's the middle of February. How do we feel about these teams, and what are some of the ant you know anticipation? And again, I want to emphasize some of these teams could be absolutely great and awesome, but they could still be on the low end. It's not ranking who I think is going to be great, who I think is going to be a top team. If one team is ahead of another team, it doesn't mean that I think that that team is going to be better than that team. So I'll have to repeat that many times because apparently I didn't repeat it enough when I did the quarterback mound, but it's all right. So at the bottom, we got the New York Jets, the Miami Dolphins, the Cleveland Browns, and the Arizona Cardinals. Listen, man, I don't want to say that I don't care about some of these teams, because I want to genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, make videos about every single team out there. I am the one that preaches that all the time. I want to cover all the teams, I want to be able to talk about all the teams, and not just focus on the same 4 teams. But I'm just being honest going into this season. I don't care about the Jets. Because I want to talk about them because they matter. Not just to talk about teams just for the sake of talking about them. I want it to matter. It's hard for me to see the Jets mattering. The Miami Dolphins are interesting, and I'm excited to see what they're going to do with the new coach and this and that, but it's like, you know, I'm not anticipating. So I'm like, whoa, can you imagine what the Dolphins are doing? And what my expectations are, at least right now, which again, so far don't know who's drafting who or what free agency. For all I know, Malik Willis is going to Miami, and now I'm a lot more interested in Miami, right? So this is just as everything is right now. And for some of the teams that I'm not expecting a lot of excitement, or at least as of right now, nothing would make me happier to be proven wrong, because I want all these teams to be exciting and interesting. The Cleveland Browns, like I was on the fence because I have Shador Sanders up there, and it's because like I'm just interested in what happens with Shador Sanders, the Cleveland Browns, I don't know, man. It's just same old with them. And honestly, same thing with the Arizona Cardinals. I don't know what they're doing over there. And so if I don't know what they're doing over there, it's like, where's the interest? Where's the excitement? Where's the expectation of my belief that they could be good or great or not good? It's just, I don't know. It's like, what are we supposed to do with those teams? Honestly, what are we supposed to do? Prove us wrong. That's your objective. These 4 teams were actually really difficult. Again, the Chiefs, they're suffering from the same thing with Mahomes. I don't know what to do with them because I don't know when Mahomes is playing. I also think I was tempted to put the Bills, the Bengals, the Ravens, and the Chiefs kind of, and a couple other teams all in the same box, that too. And my view is just kind of like, you're going to be exactly who you've always been. And that doesn't mean that you're not going to be great. Doesn't mean that you're not going to win a Super Bowl, but like at this point, like watching Joe Burrow, as exciting and as awesome as it is, and this is where the rules are kind of changing because it was the same thing with the mountain where it's just like, I don't know exactly where I want to land on the criteria, but it's like, even if the Bengals are great, Joe Burrow is playing great, it's hard for me to be like, oh my gosh, did you see, like, I feel like it's going to be something that I've seen again and again. And not to mention, is this team going to be different? The offense isn't going to be different. Is the defense going to be better? Like, I don't know. And the Indianapolis Colts, like, I think Shane Steichen runs, pretty much always pretty exciting offenses. But again, quarterback, I don't know the situation. Is Daniel Jones back? Is he 100%? Just they're moving on from AR. I know. I mean, that seems as like they're pretty positive. So, I don't know. The Steelers again, who's the quarterback? That's the problem with doing some of these things. It's like, who is the quarterback? Is it Aaron Rodgers? Are like what's the story? I don't know. Neither do you. None of us know. And Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they might be losing some guys in free agency. Um, I think they'll be just exactly who they've been. I think they'll be pretty much exactly who they were last year. They're going to have some moments. It'll be kind of like a light version of the Dallas Cowboys where you're going to see some cool moments. You're going to see Baker like actually like have a great game. People are like, see, that's how great Baker is, and then he's going to lose and he's going to play against a great quarterback and lose. Like it's just going to be the same old story, you know? And again, I'm going to emphasize I love to be wrong. Love to be wrong. And this is where I kind of have this batch of teams. This really kind of became a mixed bag because I feel in a lot of ways the Rams, the Cowboys, the 49ers, and the Packers, again, they all have the ability to put on a show, but going into this season, am I expecting the Rams to show me something that I haven't seen before? The Packers, the 49ers, the Cowboys. The 49ers have the best chance of that because of Shanahan style offense, but like best case scenario, it's reminiscent of what we saw in 2023, right? So I just, I just, I'm not, there's nothing that's going to surprise me at this point. I just think you get what you see out of those teams. And again, since we're starting to blur into some controversial territory here. It's like, I'm not saying the Giants are going to be as good as the Rams or, like that's not what it is. That's not what it is. That's if you're wondering why I'm emphasizing this so much, because again, people sometimes get confused, which is okay. We all get confused. Then we got the Giants and the Raiders. I could have easily actually raised them. I don't know in year one what Mendoza and Clint Kubiak will be able to do. I'm confident it'll be rocky. I'm confident there will be obstacles because that's the way it is for every brand new quarterback. We've seen that since the beginning of time, especially now with a brand new head coach who then also has to kind of figure stuff out. And this roster kind of needs to be, brought up to speed. And yeah, I think there's a lot going in Las Vegas. And so I'm excited and optimistic for what they can do moving forward. But I haven't landed on how quickly I think they can get this all together. And the Giants. Jackson Dart. I almost going to say Jackson Smith and Giga again. Jackson Dart is wildly entertaining. He really is. He is wildly entertaining. I don't know, man. Again, I'm optimistic that the Giants can kind of get things hold. I don't love some of the hiring Matt Nagy. Like, I don't know. Again, I think Harbaugh brings like a stabilizing factor to this team, but I I kind of think their peak was when they took down the Eagles. I think that was kind of their peak in that moment of time. And it's just like, I don't know, I would have, weirdly enough, and I said this actually in my video, uh, I forget which video, and someone commented and said that, Dable, really that team was a mess, and coaches were getting in fights, and, don't dispute any of that. But like in a weird enough way, it's just like I would feel more excitement if it was going to be year two Brian Dable and Jackson Dart, because I just, in a lot of ways, I just think Jackson Dart has the ability to put on a show, and I'm just hesitant to see if we'll be able to see that. The team could easily be better moving forward, right? No, Esh, no doubt about it. But when I'm looking at like the excitement factor right now for this team, it's going to be very Jackson Dart centric, just the way I'm looking at it right now. And then we got the Lions, the Panthers, the Falcons, the Texans, the Saints, and the Ravens. You know, the Ravens are kind of similar to me with the 49ers, and kind of with the Bills when I put Josh Allen above Lamar Jackson in my last video. And someone said, you know, hey, they should be on the same because they're both, you know, Hall of Fame quarterbacks, exciting quarterbacks who are getting new coaches. And it's true, right? That's very valid. I guess for me with Lamar Jackson, it's hard for me to imagine that the structure that they have in place right now, that again, that the Ravens are going to show me something, and Lamar Jackson, therefore, is going to show me something that I wasn't expecting or that I wasn't anticipating. Whereas, like, say, like a Josh Allen with Brady right now, because he's now being elevated to the head coach, I wouldn't be surprised if we just see a different version of Josh Allen. I'm not anticipating seeing a different version of Lamar Jackson. But again, you know, there's some talks about maybe Tyreek Hill going to Baltimore, and it's just like I don't even know how to make sense of it. I'm like, is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Like it's like, you know, I don't know. The Saints shook and Kelmore. I just think year two with that offense and some continuity there, I just think the Saints are going to be significantly better. And maybe it's a little bit of wishful thinking with the Saints and the Falcons and the Panthers, but it's just really this feeling that are they moving in the right direction? And that's why I have the Bucks down there, because it's like the Bucks have already been moving in the right direction. And I think we saw the most out of them over these last few years with Baker and then losing Liam Cohen and whatnot. Whereas I think, again, the Saints and the Falcons are coming from such a lower place, so there's more room for them to be juiced up. And, you know, the Panthers, we can downplay what they did last year because they're the Carolina Panthers, and it was a bit inconsistent. And like 1 minute they beat a great team, next minute they lose against a terrible team. And it's always a little bit difficult to like kind of make sense of that when a team is like that, because you're just like, well, is it just any given Sunday, or is like, no, is this team actually good? Like, what's the story here? And truthfully, the Carolina Panthers, a lot of that weight is being held on by watching what they did in the playoffs against Los Angeles Rams. I thought that was an awesome game, and I was really, really, really impressed. And so I'm just excited for some continuity there and potentially seeing an upgrade. But, you know, to be clear, some of these teams, like I will be quick to abandon them right away. Like I'm like hopeful that the Panthers can and Bryce Young can show me something. If I watch a couple games where I'm like, no, oh my gosh, Bryce Young is not, that I don't know what they're doing, I'll be so quick to be like, okay, never mind. I was too optimistic. The Lions, I just think we ultimately saw the most exciting version of them with Ben Johnson. Now, like I've said a lot with the Detroit Lions, and like I've kind of said with a couple teams now, it's not to say that the Lions won't be better moving forward or that they can't be better moving forward, but what really showed the Lions, you know, especially offensively, was just this just insanely exciting offense, high-level offense. And we did even see some of that still with Jared. You know, I think one of the most exciting things for me watching the Lions is Jared Goff's accuracy and his ability to hit players in stride, and just how that offense is so perfectly timed. And I really love it. And it's a perfect example of counter of what I say, where I always talk about Yak being a coaching stat. And Jared Goff is a great example of how it's definitely, certainly Yak, you know, a coaching stat, because you have to dial up the plays in a way where you can hit the man. But it does show, you know, Jared Goff does kind of perfectly show of like, yeah, but if I don't deliver this ball perfectly, then we're not going to get anywhere near as amount of yak as we would. And it's just really cool to see, honestly. It's just very precise that I really, really do enjoy. But I think it'll be pretty much a lot of what we've seen, and maybe even slightly less than. But again, that doesn't mean that they're going to be less than. That's what I'm trying to emphasize up significantly here, and hopefully you guys are hearing that message loud and clear. and again now with the Texans, there's rumors that CJ Stroud could be traded. It's so hard right now because I really try to not just focus on all the random offseason stuff because I really only want to have the meaningful conversations. I don't want to be like CJ Stroud trading, be traded and question mark. And then it just be like, if there's a real conversation to be had, I'll have it. And there is probably a conversation to be had about CJ Shot. It's like, well, should they trade for him? What's the conversation here? Has he regressed? Has it been the team? And that's definitely a worthy conversation to have just for the sake of having it. But like the random, like I hear the Texans want to trade him. Like I want to avoid those types of off-season topics. It's tricky. You gotta I try to really rely on the people who I think are actually getting true insight and not people that are just chasing views and clicks in that regard because um, I just want to be precise in that regard. And the Falcons, I'm excited to see what Stefanski does with this team. I'm excited to see what he does with the weapons that he has at his disposal now, offensively. Of course, this all has to be tied together with a quarterback, but man, there's a lot of bodies on that offense. There's a lot of bodies on that offense, and I just think Kevin Stefanski, as long as he's getting competent quarterback play, there's going to be some magic there. There's going to be some excitement there. There really will be. So, there's going to be excitement. I might be excited. And then we got second to last here. We got the Broncos, the Seahawks, the Patriots, the Commanders, the Titans, and we got the Bills. I'll start with the Titans.